I've got a bunch of YouTuber role models, but I think the guys I look up to the most is Redlettermedia. They're a group of guys out in Wisconsin that specialize in film reviews. They review movies that are currently in theaters, they'll review cult classics, and occasionally they'll review terrible, long-forgotten, straight-to-VHS films from the 80s and 90s. So why do I like these guys so much? Well, for starters, I think they're funny as hell. Their sense of humor is really dry and very sarcastic. And when they get together to review films, they're constantly trying to get each other to break, to crack up. And you kind of get sucked into their camaraderie. Like, Mike is the guy that's the most stoic of the bunch. Like, he never breaks, but when he does laugh, it's the best thing ever. It's kind of like Stanley from The Office. You know, he never laughs, but when he does, it's awesome. And then there's this guy, Rich, who's kind of the group punching bag. Like, they all just shit on this guy, and it's really funny. And the funny thing is, they do really solid film reviews, like really in depth. All of these guys are film snobs, and I mean that in the best way possible. And what I really like about them is that they're really good at articulating why a bad movie is bad. It's very easy to say, oh, that movie sucks, but it's not terribly easy to say why. So they are my favorite YouTube channel, but to call them YouTubers is, I think, doing them a huge disservice because I don't see them as YouTubers. If anything, they're much closer to a podcast. And I'm not even really a podcast guy, but I love watching and listening to these guys talk about movies. So I guess my biggest role model in YouTube right now is Redlettermedia. I highly encourage you to check them out. If you've seen a movie in the last 5 years, chances are they've reviewed it in depth.
To quote a popular film critic, you might not have noticed it, but your brain did.
Let me start off with one of my personal favorite channels, Redlettermedia, comprised of Mike J and the world-famous Rich Evans. Their big break online was the Mr.Plinkett character created in 2008 that did in-depth comedy critiques of films, most famously the prequel trilogy, that at the time went viral, gathering millions of views. Since then, they developed more personality-driven shows like Review, Half in the Bag, Best of the Worst, and Nerd Crew. Their sense of humor seeps into all of these endeavors. In the case of a channel like Redlettermedia, while it's true that they really haven't mixed up their formula that much in recent years, that's mainly because they don't have to. They may not have the most flashy of thumbnails and titles, but what is offered is long-form content watched by a loyal audience that click on videos because of the personalities showcased within. I love just how detached they are from the rest of the YouTube community. I've seen dozens of creators, many of which had millions of fans, show their adoration for Redlettermedia online, but I rarely see them ever responding back. Well, there's a lot to be said about networking. Mike J and Rich being so far removed from the rest of the online landscape has helped them stay away from drama as well as adding a unique charm to their channel. I think one reason they have such a loyal fan base is people appreciate their unbridled cynicism to much of what they do. They subject themselves to horrendous movies for the purpose of mocking them. They trash Star Wars and nerd culture surrounding the series as their audience eggs them on. And Mike's relentless teasing of Chris Evans is some of the funniest content on the internet. They may not have the biggest channel on YouTube, but it could be argued that they do have the most consistent.
They're like just in the middle of a field, like in a desert, just like random locations where they clearly didn't have to pay any money to be there, and then some green screens.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gosh.
They did have VFX artists for that one, though. I think he did
so
pay him, actually.
Space Cop.
Paid him minimum wage.
Yeah.
Space Cop had better effects.
Oh yeah, I know the guy that did
Boldly Flame
the
movie.
effects for Space Cop, actually.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, he's
He
Canadian.
did a pretty good job, I gotta say.
Yeah.
If only they... Well, Space Cop we can save for another day. Let's not...
Yeah, let's
not
talk.
burn more
Let us
bridges than we
discuss
have
that
to.
another day if we're gonna burn all of our bridges.
Yeah, I'd have to watch it first.
Make a JonTron proper. That's why we try to make each JonTron a little bit special, so when it comes out, people feel like it was worth the wait. You know, like, there are guys I admire like Redlettermedia who do stuff more often, and they do, like, you know, and have regular segments like film reviews. Actually, maybe, would any of you guys want to, in the comments, is there any sort of, like, if I did a film review segment, would you watch that? Like a legit film review segment? I've toyed with it. I always thought that would be fun to do, like a comedy film review.